What's a ModPod? Let's check it out. The great thing about the shooting sports is there's a lot of innovation that goes on because guys are at the range, they're in the trench, they're shooting and shooting. And bipods are really important to get exceptional accuracy. With the ModPod, and this is from Vltor, which is a very well-known company to make really quality items. This is a very unorthodox way to mount a bipod. It gets it off of this front, which can be a little bit wobbly. You know, there are options that you can lock down, but with it up here on the rails, it's very unorthodox. Bringing it out, but man, is it stable. And so we're going to check out the ModPod, see what it's all about. Might be something that you like, might be something that you don't like, and that's usually what happens when something's really different. Having a bipod on your rifle gives you unsurpassed stability when you're shooting a rifle. It's attached to it. It makes it really rock solid on the bench. That way you can focus on pulling the trigger. Now sometimes bipods can be big and heavy and in the way, and so there's a lot of times I don't go with bipods and I use different type rest. But really, if I'm wanting to get accurate shooting and I want to do it at longer distances, a bipod's great, not only at the bench but also when you're prone. So I was on the Brownells website and I saw this ModPod and I was like, that is the coolest looking thing. And this is from Vltor, which is a very high quality company. And I thought this is something very unique. I looked on YouTube, I couldn't find anything about it. So the guys from Brownells sent this for me to do the review and upon my request. And I just think it's a really neat, very unique, unorthodox system. But it really does a great job. It's stabilizing that rifle, to me, even more so than your traditional bipod at the bottom. Let's go ahead and drop our magazine. Magazine's empty, chamber's clear. One of the big things I like about the ModPod is its polymer. That means it's really quiet. One of the things about a metal bipod, it has a lot of springs and the metal, and it can clang and, you know, just make a lot of noise. With this, it just locks away. It's no sound whatsoever. Very quiet. Even when you're pulling down your legs, which the legs are pulled down by friction. And there's 3 different positions. There are 2 different sizes, and it's a 9-inch when it's here. It pops out to 10 inches. And you actually just pull it down, and then the last one on this model is 11.5 inches. They do make a model that goes to 13 inches. And then there's a button behind it, which I will look at in a second, that just allows you to push it up. But you have to activate the buttons. That way this stays out and it's solid. But to bring it out, all you gotta do is pull it out. Now typically the legs of your bipod go forward, but with the way this is mounted, you can bring it back. And this is typically the way people do carry it. If you want to bring the mounting system back, you can go forward. But the big problem is if you go forward, you're going to be sticking right here in the muzzle. And so that way, and you'll notice I'm locking down every time I'm pulling. This goes to a 360-degree turn. So, and it locks in each of the 90-degree turns. I'm kind of at a weird angle right now, but here, and then it'll go all the way back again. So it's a lot of versatility. Not that you'll necessarily need it in those positions, but it does give you those. But as you can see, this is definitely a lot different. You still have freedom underneath the handguard. In fact, these are really designed to be used with grenade launchers on ARs because the grenade launcher is underneath the barrel. but it comes down, it's really quiet, easy to deploy, and when I say rock solid, this thing is rock solid. Now it doesn't swivel, which some guys really like for it to be able to swivel, and that's definitely an advantage in certain situations. Now this attaches to any Picatinny rail. You can just attach it to your handguard, and then there's a little knob you just turn, a tightening screw, and then you can pull it off. And that way you can set this in different positions wherever you want to, or you can actually move the Picatinny rail to different positions. Here we have it more mounted toward the back, and that way when you bring up, you can bring it up right here forward and leave them that way. So again, a lot of different things you can do with this, especially if you're needing that front end to be wide open, you have a flashlight attached. This just kind of gets that bipod back out of the way. Of course, it does come in 2 pieces, whereas your traditional bipod is 1 piece. Right here on the side, Vltor, and then of course you've got your mounting brackets right here. It's very solid. Now here you can see where the relief points are to be able to adjust your bipod. Again, it does come out like this. One thing it will do is sometimes skip that middle position, but then to bring it back into position you have to depress it. So here, here, and then when we're bringing it back, you can see it's just raised just a little bit, and then you lock it into position. It does take a little getting used to. In fact, when I was at the range, I had to kind of figure it out what was the best way. But I'll tell you guys, the more I've used this, the more I like it. The feet are very solid, and there's tread on the bottom. This is also a high impact polymer, and it's going to be very stable on the bench. It doesn't bend, it doesn't give, it's just very solid. Of course, it is in the tan, but you can also get this in the black as well. When you push the button, it almost has like a, you can feel a relief of air. It's almost like the air holds that into place, and then when you push it down, you can just turn it. And it does turn, stops at every 90 degree, push the button, and then go to the next 90 degree. But guys, to be honest with you, it's just really the 2 positions of deployed and back on your handguard is really the 2 positions that I would use. The mounting bracket is solid aluminum. It's billet aluminum. It's a really nice piece. The threading here is excellent. The little handle comes way out, but then it stops. Now with a lot of your bipods, there's a lot of small moving parts, and things can come off and break and come loose. One of the things is it's captured, and so it's not gonna, you're not going to lose it. It's going to stay into a continual piece. The polymer is impact resistant, it's temperature resistant, and of course it's going to be out in the sun, and it's just super strong. The weight on the ModPod is 10.6 ounces. For the standard Harris bipod, I know my 6x9 is 14 ounces. So you've actually got less weight. There's less as far as the attachment point with these. And I really think these are a little bit more solid. Guys, I love the Harris bipod system, and there are others. There are some really expensive bipod systems, the Atlas and some others that I'm going to be looking at in the near future. And one of the things about it too, guys, is not everything that we show here is something that you should run out and buy. It should go to what you're doing. It's according to what you're using it for, and of course attaching a bipod to your rifle can get in the way if it's something that you're going to be using close range. This is really more for a designated marksman's rifle or something you're going to be getting out to range that you need to get some stability. Now on the bench, it rests really nice. I mean, these teeth really hold up well. It locks into place, and I like that. If there was no movement whatsoever, this is a solid fit. Attaching to your Picatinny rail, it just makes it really strong. One thing that I've noticed with some of the inferior bipods, not necessarily some of the more expensive ones, is that they can get a little loose. They're a little ungainly sometimes, taking on and off. It's one of the things about the ModPod that makes it really easy, and this little attachment point here just makes it simple to take, pull off really quick. And then when you want it back on, just bring it in, screw it down, and these screws really hold up well. I had no loosening issues whatsoever. It definitely takes some getting used to of pulling this in and out, just hitting that button. But once you do, it's not really a big deal at all. I mean, it becomes natural just to hit and push. With a lot of the bipods that you have now, you just flop them down and pull them out. This, it's already out. All you got to do is pull it down. But one of the big things about the ModPod is it just looks really cool on the rifle. And that's what it's all about, being really cool. But honestly, guys, this thing functions really well. I think it's a really solid design. It stabilizes the front of your rifle. It pops them out of place. It's a little big for necessarily a close quarter type gun, but you're not going to be putting a bipod on that anyway. But if you're taking it out to the range, it gives you a lot of advantages. The price is $180 on the Brownells website, and you can go check that out. I'll have the links down below in the description. A little higher than a lot of your standard Harris bipods. They run about $100 for those, and yet not quite as expensive as some of the really high-tech like the Atlas and other bipod systems. As far as pros and cons of the ModPod, one of the big pros is it's just stable. I mean, I could almost stand on that. It's so stable, and I really like that. It does have the 2 extra positions. One thing I do like too is it's very quiet. It doesn't make any noise. It's not made of metal, so if it gets bumped or banged, you're just not going to hear it. And it's really soft to deploy. The push-in buttons, the feet are very wide, they're big, they're very stable. Having it on the side, I like that. That is a pro. That is also a con. If you don't like it on the side, if you'd really rather have it underneath, you know, that is one thing. Now, a pro to me is not having it underneath and having that big appendage right here and bringing it up. But it does go on the sides. A little unorthodox with it going in the rear position when you stow it away. But, you know, it's just one of those things as long as your hands are in the right place. I guess one big thing about this is it's very versatile where you put it on your rifle. As far as the cons go, it doesn't swivel, and it's definitely different the way it goes to the back instead of forward to kind of get it out of the way. That's definitely something to consider according to what you're going to use it for. And the price is a little expensive for a bipod, but when you start getting into the more expensive and the better quality bipods, you're going to get into that. So, you know, it's just a matter of choice. It doesn't clank around. One of the things I've found with the Harris bipods over the years is that if you don't keep that screw really tight, it can get a little loose and it can clank, and it's just a little bit wobbly in certain applications. With this, you're not getting any wobble. So, you know, guys, if you like the Harris bipod, I've been using them for years. I love them. This is just something that's totally different, but to me, it's just super stable. Great system. I want to thank Freedom Munitions for supplying the 223. It's good, clean ammo. This is their new manufactured stuff, and you get a 5% Suits discount when you check out Suits00. Always good to get a little savings on ammunition. Now, I requested this from Brownells, and I want to thank them for sending the ModPod. It's really cool to bring some things that you know you just don't normally see, but yet good high quality. And from Vltor, great company. They've been making really high quality products for a long time. So you can find these at brownells.com, and I'll have the links down below in the description. But one great thing about Brownells, you have a 100% satisfaction guarantee. If you don't like them, send them back. Brownells will refund your money. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. Now, as far as pros and cons of the ModPod, it's definitely different. As far as pros and cons of the, let's check it out. Let's check it out. Let's check it out. It's really strong, and one of the great things, one thing about this is, and to me, is the ModPod. Kind of like the Mod Squad. With a name like ModPod, it's got to be cool.